Ciao ragazzi, LordTeox here, and today we're gonna talk about the Venti. The Anemo God is finally back. So I was waiting for this moment for such a long time, guys, you cannot believe it. And we're gonna cover, of course, all the best artifact and what you should prioritize on him. Weapons, also the new weapons that just come out, Constellation, and all the amazing talent, playstyle, and the different team composition. But before we start, guys, remember your support really means everything for me. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, so thanks to you I will be able to even make more content. Let's go. Before we start, guys, I just want to, apologize. I know that it's been already a few days. There were in 1.4 patch update. A lot of things already happened. A lot of people already maybe pulled for Venti. So I would say I'm already late in the late situation about this Venti guide, since it's not the first time the character is out. But anyways, guys, bad things happen in my life, so I had to take care, prioritize a little bit. So I'm sorry about that, I hope you will be patient. Anyway, let's just start talking about Venti and his role on your team, which is, of course, guys, is the support. So for me, he's the best 5-star in the game, or at least one of the best 5-star in the game, especially if you're talking about the support character. Venti and Bennett for me are just the best one. About Venti, the crowd control you have thanks to the ultimate, the elemental burst, is just amazing, and at the same time also you will reduce the elemental resistance of your enemies. And I would say this is just a start, this is just one of the many things who makes Venti that unique and so strong. So Venti also makes a lot of things easier in the game, from the ley line, exploration, and a lot of domain. So let's just start talking about the talents. His normal attack will perform 6 very fast consecutive shots with the bow, of course, and even if you will not use a lot of the normal attacks due to the playstyle of Venti, you can just use it sometimes, and it's nice because, especially for the charge attack, will deal Anemo damage. The elemental skill of Venti can be activated in 2 different ways. So if you just press, you will summon a wind domain dealing Anemo damage in front of you and launching all the opponents into the air. If instead you hold the elemental skill, guys, the wind domain will be even bigger compared to the first one. This time will not be in front of you, but all around Venti. Venti will be the epicenter. And guys, in this case you will deal damage and so go on, and you can use, of course, I will say use this wind domain in multiple ways. So the first one, you can, after you press hold and press the elemental skill, you can go up with the Venti and you can plunging attack with Venti or another character for dealing a lot of physical damage. Dodge enemies attack, of course, and also very nice during exploration to reach higher areas. The elemental burst for me is one of the best ultimate in the game. It will fire off this arrow and create a huge storm high that sucks all the enemies and also object. So in this storm high you can also after apply different elements, hydro, pyro, cryo or electro, with other character, of course, and in this case you will deal an additional elemental damage of this type. In this case, guys, when we are talking about the talents, you should prioritize the ultimate first, the elemental skill after, and the normal attack at the end. About artifact, guys, this time the explanation is very simple, at least compared to other characters in the game. So 4-star pieces instructor, thanks to the elemental boost after using the elemental skill, is the perfect set for you guys who just started the game recently. You pull for Venti, you have Venti, and you want to use it right away. But since you're still at the beginning of the game and you cannot farm all the artifacts, that's the best choice you have for now. For the mid-game situation, unfortunately we don't have a lot of choices, but I will also say from my point of view that this is very good, so you can focus on other characters first, for example your main DPS for dealing a lot of damage, and leave Venti as it is for now. Talking about 5-star and the end game option, the best set we have here, guys, and you might already know about that, is the Viridescent Veneer for pieces. But if you want more options, the Noblesse Oblige set can be a very good alternative, especially for the elemental burst, guys, and depending on your different artifact and stats, you can also try to mix both for achieving a very good result. As a main stats, you should prioritize on your sand. We want the elemental mastery or the attack percentage, Anemo damage bonus, of course, guys, on your goblet, and regarding the circlet we have here, I would say the usual critical rate, critical damage, and attack percentage, guys. So I would say that even looking around on the Reddit or watching a lot of different compare numbers, I would say in the circlet are like the situation compared to critical rate, critical damage, and attack percentage, guys. We don't really have, I would say, a real winner here. So at the end of the day, guys, like usual, really depends on the weapon you're using on Venti and the substats you have on your artifact, because it doesn't make any sense to put attack percentage just because it is the best on your circlet if at the end your overall stats, for example, are 12% critical rate and 30 critical damage. For me, this is just an example, of course, but in this case will not make any sense. So guys, make sure to always try to achieve at least the ratio 1 to 2 that we really want in pretty much every character. Regarding substats here, you should prioritize energy recharge and elemental mastery. These two first, followed by critical rate, critical damage, and attack percentage. Let's move on to the weapon, guys. So stringless with the elemental mastery as a substats. I will tell you already that a refine rank 1, for me this is the best 4-star option we have in the game so far, and I will explain you why now compared to the other weapon, but is also the weapon I use. The Black Cliff Warbow critical damage as a substats is also another good option that maybe a lot of players they don't really take in consideration, since it has critical damage as a substats, no energy recharge, no elemental mastery. But if you start comparing those two weapons during the elemental burst, I would say of course the elemental mastery and the passive talents will dominate the scene for the stringless at the beginning, especially regarding the swirl effect, but when the Black Cliff Wardrobe starts getting its stacks on, thanks to the passive talent after defeating the enemies, the damage during the elemental burst will increase exponentially every time you kill one, so at the end I will say the damage will be very similar to the stringless. Overall, guys, as I said, the stringless for me is a better option, especially as a support, since the playstyle you will have is much more natural. You don't need to even think about all the different stacks you need to have with the Black Cliff Wardbow. The Viridescent Ant, the Battle Pass weapon, is also a very good weapon for Venti, guys, mainly for the substats of the bow, critical rate, and not really for the passive talent, I would say. It's good if you, attack a lot, if you normal attack a lot with Venti, so you can deal more damage, of course, but to be honest, guys, this is not what we want to achieve, since 80% of the time we will use Venti as a support. I will also add that normally players are using this bow, the Viridescent Ant, on other bow user to do what normally Venti does with Elemental Burst, so the impact of the passive talent of Venti, guys, is basically equal to 0. So the main reason why maybe you want to use this bow compared to the other one we talk about is essentially for the critical rate substats, which allowed us to put a very critical damage circlet or maybe attack percentage and be good with our ratio 1:2 very easily, and that's what we really want. We can say the same things about the sacrificial bow, guys, pretty much. I would say it's a very good weapon, yes, don't misunderstand me, but taking advantage, I would say, the energy recharge as a substats, again, yes, it's amazing for Venti, and like the other sacrificial weapons, here the concept is pretty much the same. So we will have this 40% increase chance to end our cooldown. But like I was trying to say, I'm not a huge fan of it, and the reasons are different. So Venti elemental skill cooldown, guys, is already very low, and in general, thanks to all the energy we can get from elemental skills and elemental burst, together combine increasing even more the energy recharge when you already might have good artifact who can do this. I would say it's not definitely worth it, and maybe you're just wasting your substats of the weapon when you can have a better one. Also, guys, you need to remember other two things. So the first one is that Venti scale with energy recharge. So every time you level up the character, every time you level up Venti in this case, you will get even more energy recharge, up to 32%. So, and the second thing is that the passive talent, the Storm High, will grant you already 15 energy back after the elemental burst is over, which means, guys, in this case you can get back already the 25% of what you need for casting again the ultimate. That's why, guys, compared to the other weapon, if you have the other weapon and you didn't level up this sacrificial bow yet, I would say it's not my first choice, and I would highly recommend you to go for the other one. The last 4-star weapon I wanted to talk about with you guys is the new Windbloom Ode, the new 4-star weapon we get from the new event just by simply play the game. Is a very good and solid weapon, and I will say already that more free-to-play friendly than this one at the moment we don't have in the game. Elemental Mastery as a substats is perfect for a character like Venti, and especially if you're going for an Elemental Mastery build. And like the Fastering Desire, guys, the sword we had in the past event, we will achieve the Refine rank 5 just by playing the game. So that will give us a 32% attack bonus after using the elemental skill. Not the best 4-star in the game, I already said that, but again, completely free to play. And so what I will recommend you guys is, since you don't need to wish for it and you don't need to even focus your resources on the level up this weapon because the game will do it for you, I will say focus a little bit your resins on a good artifact to put on, in this case, Venti, or in the character you put this weapon for achieving good number. If you have access to a 5-star weapon, guys, and I would say you didn't level up already the one we talked about before, the Skyward Harp and the new Elegy of the End are the choice for you guys. So especially the new one, the new weapon, I think it's amazing with the energy recharge instead of the critical rate compared to the Skyward Harp, and in general the amazing passive talent guide will grant you a massive increase of your elemental mastery and also an attack percentage by 20%. I would say, guys, this basically is multiple weapon in one. So you will have energy recharge, you will have elemental mastery and attack percentage. And this for me, guys, is the future of Genshin Impact, especially with the rerun banner of old character, just by putting a new amazing weapon for this particular character or those characters like Venti or Child. And I really think that is gonna be the future of Genshin Impact with this rerun banner. Going over to the playstyle and team composition for Venti, guys, I will say right away, you can just put Venti on every single team you want. It's such a good character, it's so OP, it's amazing, it's such a good and versatile character that can stay on every of your team on your account, guys. Amazing support that can help your team with crowd control, build more energy for himself and also for all the party members, and of course guys, reduce the elemental resistance of your enemies with no issue. So using Venti, for me, the playstyle you need to have, it's very simple. It's not super complicated, so I will try to explain to you. So if Venti ultimate is already up, you can cast of course the ultimate first, apply the different elements you want during the Venti elemental burst with of course another character, so you will deal even more damage, an additional damage, swap back to Venti again using the elemental skill of Venti, watch all the amazing damage you deal, absorb all the energy with Venti. Of course, in this case, most of the time the ultimate of Venti will be up again, and in this case you can just decide to start over again or do something else. If your Venti doesn't have this amazing energy recharge, and when you finish all this rotation your Venti doesn't have the ultimate back, what you can do is simply swap back to your main DPS, dealing a lot of damage, doing a couple of rotation, and the Venti ultimate will be back again, as simple as that. So the whole idea, guys, is really try to always have the ultimate of Venti up for the amazing crowd control to deal the maximum amount of elemental damage you can with the other character, and of course guys, in this case basically not even give the chance of your enemies to fight back, especially the small one. So the first team I immediately think about is especially with the new character, is HUTAO, Venti, Ganyu and Bennett. But thinking about again this team, if you have the look, I think it's definitely better than HUTAO, guys. And the reason is, yes, we know that HUTAO is an amazing character, we know that it's super powerful, but the low HP playstyle is not always a perfect synergy with Bennett and also with Venti. Plus, you don't have any character who can give you a shield that will make, I would say, even struggle you even more than you're supposed to do, because if you need to have a low HP HUTAO and you take damage, your HUTAO as a main DPS can die very fast. So guys, D-Look instead of HUTAO for me in this team is a better choice. Will still do tons of damage, Claymore user, so also good for enemies with shield, and a much more solid character in general. I released a guide a couple of days ago, guys, about XIANGLING, link down below in the description for you, of course, where I try to explain if XIANGLING can be like a free-to-play HUTAO. So guys, in this case, a valid free-to-play option instead, of course, of D-Look or HUTAO is definitely XIANGLING. And instead of Ganyu, guys, a very nice free-to-play and friendly character we have here, of course, is Ciao. Since now we can probably stay here, I would say 2 to 3 hours, explained that Venti, like I said before, is good with almost every team in the game. I will just give you some suggestions that also include the Venti as a main DPS on your team, in this, I would say, team composition, if you want to run Venti as a main DPS. As a support though, Venti teams has to be a team where you have different elements that can trigger different reaction or destroy different shield. So one of the best for me is Fire and Electro, with this amazing overload effect that can be triggered multiple times inside of the Storm High, the elemental burst of Venti, and also of course guys deal AoE damage. So Razor, Fischl, XIANGLING, Xingyan, are just amazing example. The reaction you want to focus, guys, here are the reaction that basically will help your main DPS doing more damage after the Venti elemental burst is over. So I would say, just for making an example, you can like to trigger superconduct reaction on the Storm High that will reduce the physical damage resistance of your enemy, of course dealing damage at the same time, but when the Storm Eyes is over, you need to attack with your main DPS, which is, of course will be focused on physical damage bonus. That, I would say, is pretty much the whole idea about the Venti ultimate and the Venti team composition. This is, I think, the best tips I can give you. If you want to use Venti as a main DPS, you need to pair it at least with another Anemo character like Jean or Sucrose. This is for the first step, I would say. And the other good character for him as a main DPS can be Bennett, definitely one of the first choice. Chinchu or Fischl are a very good and solid alternative. Last things we're gonna talk about, guys, are the constellations. So probably the worst, and don't kill me for that, but part of an amazing character like Venti, an amazing 5-star that to be honest, if you compared what actually Venti can give you at your account, even at Constellation 0, for me, guys, are just, I would say, again, the worst part. And don't get me wrong, like every other character, the Constellation will make your Venti even stronger, the usual stuff, blah blah blah, but at the same time feel very like less powerful than other Constellation on other character. But anyway, I will try to explain this a little bit better later, but Constellation we would like to focus are the Constellation 2, the Constellation 4 and the Constellation 6. So Constellation 2 will decrease the Anemo resistance of your enemies by 12% during the elemental skill, and also, guys, looks like in this way, in I would say the Constellation, in the way the Constellation he builds, is trying to give you a hit about a combo, since the enemies who are launched by the Skyward Sonnet will suffer from an additional 12% Anemo resistance, but also a physical damage. What I mean by that is, guys, is after that, if you do a plunging attack with Venti, or if you do a plunging attack with another character who has a lot of physical damage, especially, I don't know, Razor maybe as your main DPS, you will deal even more damage than before, and this is cool. It's a nice constellation. C4 will increase your Anemo damage exponentially, since you will pick up a lot of Orb or Party Cell during the elemental skill and burst, and thanks to that, guys, you will get a 25% Anemo damage bonus, and I think this is a really strong constellation. Achieving the Constellation 6 for me is the real game changing, and also means, guys, that you spend a lot of money on Venti unless you're crazy lucky. And in this case, guys, you will get both an Anemo decrease resistance of 20% plus an elemental resistance of 20% for the specific element absorbed during the ultimate of Venti. This Constellation 6, guys, is really what make, I would say, the big difference between the other constellation who, yes, will really make your Venti stronger, but the Venti support role with this Constellation 6 will even be more stronger. And the feeling that I was trying to express with you before, that yes, the Constellation before, as I said, will give you even more and more power, but will not changing drastically the support role of Venti. But as soon as you reach level, Constellation 6, this happened, boom, right away. And yes, I understand it's a gacha game. Yes, of course, the Genshin Impact will push you to try to reach Constellation 6, spend money and so on with other characters in general. But I wanted to try to express my thought and my feeling about what I said before. And I would like to repeat you again that, of course, guys, unless you're big whale, you want to spend a lot of money on Venti, you don't need to have a constellation of this character. They're not required at all for being an amazing character, and even a Constellation 6 is still one of the best characters in the game, period. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this guide helpful and you learned something. Let me know what you're thinking, and if you have any other question regarding Venti, just leave it down below in the comment like usual regarding the team composition. Whatever you want, I will help you as soon as I can. I'm sorry again guys for the late video, and as I said at the beginning, I had to take care of personal matter, but you know, that's how it is. Like the video if you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel guys, so in this way you can show your support and watch more content like this one. I see you next time, very soon, I promise. Ciao, ciao.